What actually happens when two of the most powerful forces of nature strike the exact same spot in less than a minute? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're breaking down the incredibly rare and honestly devastating twin earthquakes that recently hit northern Venezuela. We're going to map out the sheer geological power at play here, the frantic race against time, and how communities were pushed to the absolute brink. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Because the number 39? That is literally the key to understanding this entire event. 39 seconds. That's it. That is the exact amount of time that separated two absolutely massive, catastrophic earthquakes. I mean, just think about that for a second. 39 seconds is barely enough time to even process what's happening, let alone evacuate a building or find a safe spot. In less time than it takes to, pour your morning cup of coffee, the Earth violently ruptured, not once, but twice. It's this incredibly condensed time frame that turned what was already a major natural hazard into a profound historical tragedy.
To really wrap our heads around how this happened, we need to look at the geology. Section 1, The Science of the Strike, June 24, 2026.
Now, what's genuinely fascinating from a scientific standpoint is what experts actually call this. It's known as a seismic doublet. So a seismic doublet is when you have two separate but very closely timed powerful earthquakes, and they happen in nearly the exact same location. Now, it is absolutely crucial to understand that these aren't just your typical foreshocks and main shocks, or a big quake followed by a smaller aftershock. No, these are two completely distinct, massive events that practically overlap in time and space. It's an exceptionally rare phenomenon, and when it happens right in your populated areas, well, the danger level just skyrockets.
Let's walk through exactly how this doublet actually played out on the ground. At 0 seconds, the first rupture hits. A massive 7.2 magnitude earthquake strikes just west of Caracas, sending this incredibly violent shaking across much of the country. Then, we hit that 39-second mark. It's a brief, terrifying gap. The ground is still settling, and people are literally just starting to react. And then, at the 40-second mark, the unthinkable happens. A second, even stronger 7.5 magnitude earthquake strikes the exact same area. The seismic waves from the second quake hit before the dust from the first one had even begun to clear.
Which leads us to a really vital question. Why was this specific disaster so incredibly severe? We know earthquakes happen, but the level of destruction here was catastrophic.
So the crucial point is that this comes down to three compounding steps. Step 1, zero recovery time. Literally none. The second quake hit before anyone had a chance to catch their breath from the first. Step 2, severe structural weakening. A lot of buildings might have actually survived that initial 7.2 shock, but their foundations and supports were left deeply, deeply fractured. Which brings us to step 3, total collapse. When you take vulnerable infrastructure, severely weaken it, and then hit it just 39 seconds later with a massive 7.5 quake, the risk of complete failure is almost guaranteed. That right there is the deadly equation of a seismic doublet.
The science explains the physical forces, but we really have to look at the human reality here. Section 2, the devastating impact, catastrophic damage on the ground.
The toll this event took on Venezuelan communities is it's heartbreaking. Authorities have confirmed hundreds of deaths and thousands more have been injured. And alarmingly, a lot of people are still missing. The physical landscape has literally been torn apart. We're talking completely collapsed buildings, roads just cracked wide open, and vital lifelines like hospitals suffering immense damage. Because of all this, thousands of people were forced from their homes in an instant. And to make a nightmare scenario even worse, emergency crews are trying to dig through these structures while getting hit by continuous aftershocks. It makes rescue operations incredibly dangerous and complicated.
In the face of a crisis like this, the world has to move fast. Section 3, the global rescue effort, mobilizing emergency assistance. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer scale of the international response, because you can't just throw supplies at a disaster zone, right? It takes a massive, coordinated effort. The United Nations stepped in to lead the charge, coordinating the overall relief so there's no duplicated work. Then you have the IFRC, the Red Cross and Red Crescent, right there on the ground providing critical medical support and setting up temporary shelters for the thousands displaced. Meanwhile, the European Union is funneling in those vital emergency supplies. It's basically a giant, unified logistical puzzle coming together in real time.
All of this coordination translates into immediate, life-saving action on the ground right now. With aid pouring in from multiple countries, rescue teams are working around the clock. The absolute #1 priority, obviously, is saving lives, getting people out from under the rubble. From there, the focus expands to helping the survivors, making sure they have shelter and basic necessities. But, even while the dust is still settling, these communities are going to have to start looking toward the future. They are facing an incredibly long, tough road ahead to rebuild from a disaster of this magnitude.
These twin earthquakes serve as a really stark reminder of just how powerful nature can be. When the Earth shifts not once, but twice in under a minute, it completely tests the limits of our engineering, our emergency response, and our human resilience. It really leaves us with something important to think about. Are we truly prepared for the sudden, compounding power of nature in our own communities? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking questions, stay curious.